Right, so today we are going to start chapter 5, and this first section, just like a lot of chapters, is going to be really heavy on vocabulary and then understanding the basics of angles and degree measure and what it means to talk about angles on a coordinate plane versus how we talked about it in geometry where they were always in triangles or quadrilaterals and things like that. So today's lesson is not going to be hard. It's going to be a lot of information, so that's why you may see multiple parts on this one, but recognize it's not going to be like super deep, super difficult. It's just going to be a lot of vocabulary and how that vocabulary relates to math. All right, so let's go ahead and move forward. So an angle in standard position has a vertex at the origin, an initial side on the positive x-axis, and a terminal side that can rotate about the origin. So what this looks like is I have my vertex here at the origin. My initial side, which is this purple ray, is going to lay on that positive x-axis. And then the terminal side, so think about this, initiating something is starting it and terminating something is ending it, which is why they call the movie The Terminator, because he's ending the lives of people. Okay, so this red one can swing around wherever it wants to as long as it has an endpoint on the origin, but this purple one is going to stay on that positive x-axis. And once that happens, we can call that standard position. Okay, so we can find the measure of the angle one of two ways. So one is I could measure starting from my initial side and going counterclockwise to figure out how many degrees it takes to get to the red, and that would be the positive version of the angle measure. Or I can start with my my protractor on the initial side. I don't know why I lose my mouse sometimes. And then we could measure clockwise to the red ray, and then that would be a negative measure. So hopefully you talked about that in geometry as well. So counterclockwise follows the numbering of the quadrants. So we've got quadrant 1 is where everybody's positive, and then we go counterclockwise. So top left is quadrant 2, the bottom left is quadrant 3, and the bottom right is quadrant 4. And we always use Roman numerals for the quadrants. So currently, because this terminal side is in quadrant 1, we would say that that angle is in quadrant 1. Okay, so if I called that 30 degrees, notice it's positive because we started with our initial side here and went counterclockwise. If I go the other direction, that would be negative 330. Notice, ignoring that negative sign, the sum of those two angle measures would be 360 because that's one full revolution. All right, so if I had my terminal side in the second quadrant, I could say that the measure of that angle is 135. Or I can go in the other direction and say 135 minus 360 gives me negative 225. I could have my red terminal side in the third quadrant and say something like that measure is 210 degrees. Or I could do 210 minus 360 and say that it's negative 150 degrees. So what I'm trying to get at here is that you could name the measure of that angle multiple ways because you could even do more than one revolution and come back to that red side. Okay. So if the terminal side lies on an axis, the angle is called a quadrantal angle. So I know it's a weird word, but think there's the word quadrant in it, which means it's not lying in a quadrant, it's kind of representing a whole quadrant. So in this case, this quadrantal angle is representing 90 degrees. In this case, you could be going clockwise and saying positive 180 or counterclockwise and saying negative 180. In this case, going clockwise, this quadrantal would be 270 degrees. And notice in this case, the initial side and the terminal side are both on the positive x-axis. So that means that it's a complete revolution. And so my mouse keeps going weird, sorry. So if I go all the way around one revolution, that's 360 degrees, which we talked about in the previous slide. All right, so then the most common unit that we talk about when we're measuring angles is degrees. We're going to learn in the next chapter that there's also a measurement called radians. So if you've ever seen a button that says DRG on your calculator, the D stands for degrees and the R stands for radians, okay? So degrees they came up with degrees prior to having calculators. And so they wanted values that were easily divisible by a lot of different numbers. So the number 10 we use because we have 10 digits. And so that's why civilization tends to now have a 10-digit language when it comes to math. But back in the day, they liked 60 because 60, you could divide it by 1, by 2, by 3, by 4, by 5, by 6, by, I think 8 closely, but not completely, but you get the idea. There's a lot of different numbers that go into 60. So they picked 60 rather than 10. So in an equilateral triangle, they assigned the measure of 60 degrees to each of the 3 angles. And so 1/60th of the measure of an angle of an equilateral triangle is 1 degree. And then that degree can be divided into 60 equal parts that we call minutes. And then that can be divided into 60 equal parts, which we call seconds. And again, it's because their number base was 60, that's why we're using 60 for each of these. So minutes and seconds are used a lot in like sailing. You'll see things talked about with longitude and latitude. So if you want to pause the video, you can read this, but it's not a huge deal, but it is when they talk about maritime sailing and things like that, they do use minutes and seconds. And so what we need to be able to do is transfer from degrees into minutes and seconds and from minutes and seconds into degrees. And so if we take a look at A, we've got 28 full degrees. So I can say this has a full 28 degrees. Then I've got some minutes and seconds involved. So we're going to say 0.955 times 60. So you're going to do this in your calculator, and I didn't do it in advance, so I'm going to do it with you. So 0.955 times 60 gives me 57.3. So what I want you to see is we have 57 full minutes, and so we use the single apostrophe to say a minute, but I still have this decimal of a minute, and so we're going to say, okay, take that 0.3 and multiply it by another 60. So 0.3 times 60 gives me 36. I feel like that's not wrong. So 0.3 times 60, I believe it gives me 18. Sorry about that. And so we're going to say 18 seconds. So transferring the decimal version of the degree into minutes and seconds looks like that. So on this one, I'm going to give you a hint. So we have 57 full degrees. And remember that this negative is not talking about the number being negative. It's talking about the direction. So this one would have gone counterclockwise, 28.955 degrees. This one is just saying now go clockwise, 57 degrees. So the negative is not going to affect the value of my number. So at this point, go ahead and start talking about how do I turn that 0.327 degrees into minutes and seconds. So take a moment to pause the video and try this one out. All right, so if we multiply this by 60, I get 0.327 times 60 gives me, and we get 19.62. So I have 19 full minutes, but then I have this 0.62 left over. So if take that 0.62 and I multiply it by 60 again, we're going to get 37.2. And I realize that I have a decimal on there, but there is no smaller amount than a second. So we can say 37.2 seconds. And again, the negative doesn't affect how my number is reported. It just affects what direction I would rotate it. Okay. So if going from degrees to minutes and seconds is a multiplication process, then that means that this one is going to be a division process. And we need to be really careful about how we do it, because a lot of people make mistakes on this one, not because they didn't know what they were doing, but because they try to go too fast and they miss something. So here we said 32 degrees is my full degrees. So I could put that over 1 if I wanted to. And then minutes, that means there's 28 minutes out of every, out of every degree. So there's normally 60 minutes in a degree. So I have 28 out of those 60. That's what I was trying to say, to be able to say what fraction of a degree do we have there. Now, when we talk about seconds, and this is where people make their mistake, when we talk about seconds, we're trying to say out of the total number of seconds in a degree, not the total number of seconds in a minute. So there's 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in a degree. So do you see that on this second one, we would have to multiply by 60 twice. And then I realized I was writing multiplication here, but we're adding these together. So we're saying I've got 32 plus the minute fraction of a degree plus the second fraction of a degree. In my calculator, I'm going to type in 32 plus, and instead of using the fraction button, I'm actually going to use the division button because I do want it as a decimal. So I'm going to say plus, and then I'm going to say 28 divided by 60, and then I'm going to say plus 10 divided by 60 squared. And so I want that 60 squared in that denominator. And then when I'm done, I get 32.469 degrees, rounded to the nearest thousandth. All right, so you got to see me in a scared moment because they are testing the speakers at school. So you see my little shake up there because it scared me a little bit. So we've got 32.469 degrees. And what I want you to double check is this number right here. This 32 degrees is telling me how many whole degrees we have. And that should be exactly the same as this number in front of the decimal. If this number increased, then you probably did not square your 60 in the end because it got too big, okay? And so if you don't square the 60, you're calling this minutes instead of seconds, and then you start getting bigger than the actual degree that you are, okay? So take a moment, and again, this negative has nothing to do with the calculation. So the negative is just how we rotate. So take a moment to figure out what would this be in degrees to the nearest thousandth. Hopefully I don't get scared again. So we would take 73 full degrees plus 14 out of 60 minutes in degrees plus 35 seconds. So there's 60 seconds in a minute and 60 minutes in a degree. So we have to do that last one divided by 60 squared. So we're going to type into our calculator 73 plus 14 divided by 60 plus 35 divided by 60 squared. Whoops, I don't need that negative sign. And we're going to get 73.243 degrees. So it's negative 73.243 degrees, rounded to the nearest thousandth. Okay. And again, double check, this 73 degrees is all the full degrees we have. So this number should not go higher, ignoring the negative. This number should not be anything but 73 degrees. If it got higher, then I made a mistake somewhere in my calculation. So I want to pause the video here before I move on because I want to make sure that we talk fully about the next vocabulary words. So please go ahead and move on to part 2.